segment, we're going to be discussing the much anticipated fight between Terence "Bud" Crawford versus Julius Indongo. The fight will take place, I believe, this weekend, no?
Yeah.
Is that the 18th?
The 19th.
The 19th, August 19th. It'll be obviously in, I believe, in Omaha as well, Nebraska. So this fight is a unification fight for 140 pounds. Obviously, all the marbles, all the belts. And I believe whoever wins this fight will, and I'll get to it, but whoever gets this fight obviously is going to go up in the rankings. And obviously, if Terence Crawford wins the fight, he'll go pretty much. I don't know if number 1 pound for pound. I mean, I think he's listed number 5, but I don't see a reason why not list him number 1 at this point. Because I mean, I don't know of anyone else who has all 4 belts. I mean, Triple G had an opportunity to do so, but decided to go with the Canelo route.
No, but still, I think if Triple G beats Canelo, he should be considered to be.
But the Billy Joe Saunders fight, if they win it,
Yeah, but I mean, like, everybody knows that. Because this is the thing about pound for pound. It's a mystical list. Like, if you know this guy will beat this guy, there's no point of putting them together. You can already rank him above him. So
where would you place Crawford? He's currently, on most people's list, listen, like, let's say 5 or 6.
All right.
Some people number 3, depending on who you have.
I'll keep Warren number 1 because his resume and everybody he has. Crawford, if he wins the belt, should be number 2, and if Triple G beat Canelo, he should be number 3. and the reason why is because even though Crawford have passed the eye test, he doesn't have really big names. Like, he got good names, but not. He's got
a lot of B-class fights.
Exactly. He don't have another elite level.
I think he caught Gamboa kind of on his way out.
Like if Postal would have continued to go on and beyond, I think that would have helped his resume.
Yeah, Victor Postal really wasn't there yet, because I know the only time I heard of Postal, I mean, he had other fights, but then the Garcia fight didn't happen. So.
And after the loss, he went to
Oblivion and shit.
Yeah.
So they'll fight the way it looks on paper. Terence Crawford stands at 31 wins, and 31 of those wins are 22 knockouts, no losses, no draws. And obviously Julius Indongo has 22 wins, 11 knockouts in that record, no draws, no losses. Notable opponents: Terence Crawford has a bunch. Felix Diaz, who just fought, was an Olympian from Dominican Republic.
Gold medalist.
Yeah, gold medalist. John Molina Jr. Everyone knows who he is. Victor Postal, we just mentioned. Hank Lundy, Deary John, Thomas Delorme, Raimundo Beltran, Gamboa, Ricky Burns, who Indongo, that's a common opponent they have. Mm-hmm. And then Brettis Prescott, notable for beating Amir Khan. And obviously from Julius Indongo, the only 2 people that I know he's fought is Ricky Burns and Troyanovsky. Those are the 2 televised fights that I've seen of his. Do you want to give your take on it first, how you see the fight playing out?
Yeah, I mean, it's plain and simple. I think this is going to be similar to the Postal fight. The only thing is that Indongo is more athletic. And you remember our predictions to that fight? If you remember our predictions?
Yes, I do.
We thought it was going to be a close competitive fight. I think this is going to be a close competitive fight. The thing is about Postal is that he's really robotic. And usually those guys from the UK,
Eastern European guys, they fight like very structured type.
Like robots, basically. It's like Kovalev and those other guys. They gotta set. Even Triple G does it a little bit. You will notice it.
Very rigid type style, not much fluidity to it.
Yeah, and they gotta reset all the time. So if you're able to find a way to have them reset, they will never find a range, and they'll be frustrated and confused, and it won't go good for them. So I believe that this fight is gonna go the way we expected. Why? Because Indongo is also a southpaw, which will give a better competition due to the fact that I believe that Terence Crawford, even though
he's ambidextrous,
I think that he does better at the southpaw precision. But that's, again, it goes either way. I mean, I think he does a little bit better at southpaw precision, but I would like to see how it plays off. But I think, in my opinion, Crawford's gonna edge it, and he's gonna go to the decision and gonna get the unanimous decision, I think. But it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be exciting. I think Indongo. I like Indongo, man. I mean, Terence is my guy. I mean, I can't go against him. But this fight could easily be 50-50. This is a fight that we thought he was gonna get from Postal, Terence Crawford. I don't see it. A lot of people going for the it's gonna go for the knockout, but I don't see the knockout because Terence Crawford, he doesn't press the action. Like I think if he would have pressed Felix Diaz, he could have gotten the knockout. If he would have pressed Postal, he could have gotten the knockout. Me personally, I think it's gonna just go to the decision, to the scorecard, and Crawford is gonna edge it. I think, but it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be a real competitive fight, opposed to the Postal fight.
Yeah, the way I see it, I agree with you. I'm actually looking at the highlights online of Ricky Burns and Indongo, and they do have a common opponent. I hate to put triangle theories out there, but one thing I noticed about Indongo when you look at him fight is that Indongo generates a lot of his power from the outside. He basically is more of a long-range fighter from what I've seen with him with Troyanovsky and Ricky Burns. Terence Crawford, he made me a believer when he fought Postal, because when he fought him pretty much Postal, he was longer, taller than him, and he found a way to control the distance and not be in harm's way, and eventually he got his timing down to where he was able to touch Postal and pretty much defeat him to a decision. And at one point, I believe, you know, Postal was in danger of getting clipped. But one thing about Terence Crawford, he's able to control distance to where, you know, someone like Indongo, who uses distance to generate all his power, if he can't do that, or he can't be first to the punch, it's going to be a long night for him. Now, as far as fighting on the inside, I feel that Indongo's strength is on the outside. I don't think there's, you know, not saying that there's nothing there, but I would see him more as a guy that clinches more on the inside and, you know, and trying to generate all of his power from the outside. So, do I see him with Crawford? I see him definitely probably the first 3 rounds, maybe trying to figure him out, both guys. And then once they get the timing down, hopefully he gets the timing down, he'll be able to defeat him. So, something tells me, I mean, I have a feeling that, Crawford is going to try to go for the KO in this fight. Because, I mean, he really wants to be at the top of the pound for pound list. I think an impressive win against a champion like this will really put him at the top. But at the very least, I agree with you. I think at the very least it'll be a unanimous decision. If not, then it'll be a KO. But to play it safe, I think at the very least Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford winning by unanimous decision against Indongo. Because Indongo, I don't see him taking the risk. I don't see what's the point of even jumping in there trying to take a risk against a guy like Crawford when you could just stay on the outside, he'll never get on the inside, and pretty much Crawford will win the majority of the rounds on paper. So that's the way I have it. That's the way you have it. Any additional comments you want to put in there?
No, I mean, like I said, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be a really competitive, the way I see it happening, it's going to be a really competitive fight.
I think speed, I don't know who's, you know, whoever is first on connector punches.
The thing about Crawford, sometimes he starts slow, so that can give Indongo edge at least for the first round, the first 3 to 4 rounds, and after that, I could see Crawford turning it around and
Crawford's really
and cruising by.
Yeah, Crawford's really good at controlling range, man. I mean, even with the Felix Diaz fight, if you guys remember our prediction on that fight, when Felix Diaz fought Peterson, he couldn't really control, and Peterson likes fighting on the inside as one of his strengths. Maybe that's one of the reasons, but Terence Crawford was totally able to neutralize Felix Diaz's inside game. Like, he was able to keep him at distance, and really didn't give him a chance to go in. And even when he came inside, Crawford got the best of him. So the way I see this fight playing out, I see, you know, Crawford getting the range first, and once he gets the range, he'll just defeat him. And it's really up to Indongo. If he's willing to take risks and jump in there, then it could be a short night for him. But he looks like the type of fighter is really smart. I don't see him taking any risks. Like I said, it'll probably just be a decision to where he can, you know, salvage a reputation at that point. So that's it from us. That's our prediction on it. Crawford
basically
decision.
Jump a little bit on the card. We're gonna have the nail.
I forget his name.
The nail.
Glonowski, the nail.
Basically,
Glastic. Gvozdik. Yeah, I apologize.
Basically, the way I see it happening is it's a showcase. He's gonna get the knockout and look impressive. This kid for me is one of the best top 10 light heavyweights. I think that
Alexander Gvozdik. Crazy. Yeah.
I think this kid is the goods. You know, I would like to see him against Barrera. I think he's not ready for war yet, but against Barrera or Joe Smith, those guys, Brown, who will beat my boy Siani Monahan. Either of those guys for him will match up perfectly. I mean,
they're still building him up, so they have time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a young kid. He's good because he speaks fluent English, which I like.
Good for marketing.
Yeah, good for marketing. The only bad thing is that he's with Top Rank, right?
Yeah, that's part of the Top Rank stable.
So he was Top Rank, and these other guys are Heyman and etc. Rock Nation, etc. So it is hard to mix those fights, but this kid, man, for me, he got a bright future, man. That's what I gotta say. But other than that, yeah, I mean, let's move on.
Okay, so pretty much we're gonna take a quick break, and then from here we'll be giving our official prediction on Mayweather, Mr. McGregor. The Mayweathers, fuck the Mayweathers. So
he got flattered. He got flattered.
He got brittle hands. So we'll be back.